Thanks, Brendan. And yeah, just to echo Brendan's points, thanks to everyone who's just presented. I think it's, again, an amazing, to see that key strength of the range of capacity development activities that have been taken, and also their evolution. So clearly from the start, we saw really targeted kind of community level and team building exercises, which is what was really needed at the start of the project, and then through moving through different phases, and to the end, it was really nicely summed up, I think, by that data repository or document repository, knowledge repository. And the other thing I think's been obviously interesting is that there's been kind of formal and informal capacity development throughout the project, I guess, as you would expect. But that's something that it was interesting to hear people reflecting on what they had learned as well. Now, there are some questions in the chat box, but I thought I would go to the reviewers because some of them have been answered. Some of your questions have been answered as we've been going through. So I thought I would open it up to the reviewers first of all, just to have any remaining questions answered. So Manohara, have you got any remaining questions for this session on capacity development? Can't hear Manohara.
I think, yeah, I'm enough at the moment. Thank you so much, Gail. Yes.
Okay, we can hear you now. Are you okay for the moment? Okay. Ranjita, do you have any remaining questions?
I don't know, it's taken a while to unmute, but yeah, thank you so much. Again, excellent set of presentations. What a wide range of topics and immense, huge effort to build capacity. Very, very impressive. So it was good to hear about all the achievements and, some level of reflection and learning. But clearly, there would have been challenges in designing, implementing these programs. Would love to hear from one or two of the people who have been involved in this. What didn't work, and what are the kind of lessons that we are taking away in terms of how we should not do this in future projects. And I guess, I think some of these things are particularly true when you talk about gender-related trainings. So would like to hear from, any of the colleagues about this.
Okay, thank you, Ranjita. I might just ask Professor Hamid if he has questions, and then we can get some responses.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to see all these beautiful presentations. And it's a lot of information. It's a good learning for me also. So thank you all for the contribution. I will have my comments later, but at this moment, I believe the project as a whole has done a very beautiful job, very excellent job, and also developed some platforms. Those might be of help in future also. So given that, what I understand that in the IGP, in this region, poverty is the major problem. I think that the project stands on that also. So don't you think that when we transform the traditional agriculture or conventional agriculture into mechanized commercial agriculture through CASI, that will require to strengthen our poor farmers? So how do the poor farmers can adopt CASI? Through, I think this subsidy is a very controversial issue. And how long can we go with this subsidy? So if you want to make it a sustainable progress, then how do you empower our poor farmers? Do you have any plan for that? Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hamid. Maybe we'll take that question first then. Brendan, have you got a suggestion of who can answer that? I thought in terms of strengthening or in terms of transforming ag and building capacity, then Apurva, you've already talked about the Centre of Excellence for Conservation Agriculture. I'm not sure if you can talk a little bit more about how that can also reach, so not only service providers, but farmers. And I also noticed during the chat that in regards to the seeker, there was a question about gender and whether women are, whether gender training is also provided in that and whether there's training for women as well.
And just to pop in, I know Tapan has some additional comments to make as well.
Okay, so maybe Apurva, if you can add some comments there first, and then we'll go to Tapan.
Okay, thank you everybody. Particularly for the gender related training, already we are providing such type of training. And in CISA, particularly in Regional Center on Conservation Agriculture, we have designed some of the courses, particularly for the, we'll be focusing particularly on the women stakeholders. Suppose we are giving training to the women since long. And in this project, we are using the women expertise, particularly whatever the surplus crop residues are there, we are using these surplus crop residue to develop some mushroom village. You know that in India now the mushroom in the midday meal for the school children, primary school children, it is has become essential. So there is a great demand for the mushroom cultivation. So whatever the surplus residues are there in the field, we are converting into the mushroom cultivation. And several mushroom villages have been come out and they are producing mushroom in a huge quantity. Not only they are producing to meet the demand here, but also they are sending mushroom to other countries also through Bhutan. Even in, you see Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, they are sending the Western mushrooms. So other thing is that in case of the women training, we have given training particularly in different aspects, and Professor K.K. Das is fully engaged with the training materials of the women and how to improve the training for the women. And he has chalked out many processes. He can highlight more. And regarding another question is, Professor Hamid asked one question that whether how this center can help it to the other parts. Already we are providing trainings to the Nepal stakeholders. Even in Satmail, probably some Bangladesh farmers have also came there and they have been trained. And regarding sustainability of the issue, in West Bengal, you see that the funding was very limited, but we have reached more than 1 lakh people. So already it has become sustainable through service provision modeling. So local service provider has been developed and they are providing service, and this is the paid service. Remember, this is the paid service, and farmers are coming and they are taking the service of the service provider. And we have developed several packages. Suppose sowing and inputs supplying, even service provisioning up to 55 days. Okay, 55 days of the crop. So this type of service provisioning is already there in West Bengal, and it has become sustainable. So, any Professor K.K. Das, would you like to mention anything?
Actually, everything you have told. Only thing to supplement here is that please don't misunderstand that only the mushroom cultivation we are searching for. But as because we are in the last previous day, we have told that the additional timing, we are trying to engage, we are trying to give some windows for the stakeholders for the additional ventures or the occupations like seedling factory. Our omens actually that what we are seeing is that the some changing are coming. I don't know that whether it is due to SRFSI or due to the social change, but the omens are coming up forward. So in our attempt in the Center for Excellence for Conservation Agriculture, we are categorically giving some scope for getting some additional opportunities, especially for the women, as because in the coming days, feminization in North Bengal economy or in Bengal economy, it is sure to come. What we are noticing, that is number one. And number two is that, sir, yes, the subsidy inertia is there. It is, you know that all over the world, this is there. All the developed countries, this is my experience, is that they are telling that subsidy is a problem. We have to go with this thing. Whatever we have done here is that the convergence technique, convergence of the different schemes, etc. We have categorically or tactically engaged them for getting go with the subsidy inertia and taking the advantage of it. Yes, we are very much agreed with all of you that subsidy may destroy our attempt, but it is also a given fact that we have to go with the situation, the government, the political situation, the social hierarchy, etc. Nothing can be done here. Thank you.
Thanks, KK. And I think, yeah, that's a really important thing to note, is that your Centre of Excellence is actually really in response to those subsidies that now include conservation agriculture equipment. And so it's to make sure that people, those subsidies, if people are getting them anyway, they already have machines, then we have the capacity, or they have the capacity to use the machines as well. Tapan, did you have a quick comment to make there?
Yes. First and foremost, let me congratulate all the presenters. Some amazing presentations which I came across, and I have the first-hand experience of most of this work, especially from the Bengal region. Just to put across a few things, let me be very, very clear that Shatmal Satishlavo Pathagar has conducted more than 500 trainings since last 3 to 5 years, right? We have worked with women, we have worked with farmer groups, we have worked with government officials, we have people from Gujarat, we have people from Bangladesh, we have people from Nepal, people from Bhutan. And this is not only Kasi, but what we have done is we have introduced rural business portfolios, allied sector, mostly fisheries, poultry, duck rearing, which now in terms of businesses, we have nearly 100 women who are now running businesses of their own, mostly agri entrepreneurs who are there. Let me be very clear, capacity building, demonstration and exposures is not just one-off activity. Through our experience, what we understand, it needs to be followed up. A lot of investment has to get into that capacity training and exposure and handholding. Service providers, we have created 56 farmer producer companies. We ourselves are a custom hiring center, but we do fault. Capacity building programs, I have seen where we have introduced a machine, a rice transplanter or a zero tillage, and the farmer is smart enough to realize that the first crop took a hit. I have lost my customer, and Kasi technology has lost out a customer. So we need to really look at custom hiring center from a business perspective and from a technological perspective. Shatmal Satishlavo Pathagar has the best servicing team of entire Kasi technology business portfolio. The paddy seedling factory, our woman, it's not only always we talk about Hoshnera babies, Munni babies. Now there are around 15 such women who are now doing mat paddy cultivation. This season, they collectively made a profit of 75,000 rupees in a month. In the next season, we are targeting that to go up to 200,000, but we understand the challenges. So as I stated, capacity building, training, handholding, and especially it's just not the farmers. Farmers are smart. My last meeting when we were closing the SRFSI project with the farmers, one thing is very, very clear. In agriculture, you can make profit. Without subsidy. That has very clearly come up. People are now telling me, give us a low-cost Kasi technology which I can buy for a lakh of rupees rather than 3 lakh of rupees. We will buy it and use it. Hoshnera says it. So the point is huge potentiality, but we need to really concentrate, learning from the SRFSI project. Where have been service providers? We have defaulted. Small farmers come to us with 2 acres of land and say, please, do our provide zero tillage, but my business sense doesn't work out. The economics is not working out. So I have left almost 10,000 farmers who need the service from me because of my economic and the business reason. How to handle that? So typically, these are the actual field reality oriented problems, issues which are there. Great potentiality, the business is increasing. This year, we have done wonderfully well in terms of our businesses, but this needs to integrate along with the heart, which is the social aspect of it. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tapan. I hope that answers, at least partly answers your question, Professor Hamid. I want to return now to Ranjita's question about, obviously there's been so much great work done in SRFSI and we're showcasing that here, but if we can think about challenges in implementation and lessons for what we shouldn't do, I wonder if first I could ask Mahesh to reflect on maybe some challenges and things that you had to adjust a little bit in the early days of SRFSI, and then I'm wondering, Brendan, if you've got some comment to make on that too.
Thank you, Tamara. And then in this project, we have 8 geographic regions, and if itself it shows that the range of regions are showing success and failure. So why West Bengal is the best in success? Why we got failure in Madhubani in Bihar? And there was a great learning for us, and that was a mix of not only the biophysical but also mix of all factors, and that's we have to learn. So mixed factors is community, and then like land tenant ownerships, and access machines and partners and so on. So and then effective policies and all. Why like we face same thing in the Bhagalpur and in what we call that in Bihar too as well, other locations in Pune. But later on they learned from West Bengal. And then they overcome the problems that if you want to work through only institutes, it's not going to work without engagement of the all stakeholder partners and then private actors and local agency and local communities and all. And we work with like Jivika, and then we use Jivika's helper groups, and those were the key success of in Pune later on. Though that's Jivika groups also in Madhubani, but it couldn't get success. In similarly in Nepal, we tried, it's well about Kasi technology, everybody was convinced, but there was no place of access of machinery and infrastructure was not allowed us. And then later on, these political interventions and then strikes and then so many things has happened that couldn't allow to go at that level. So there was a big challenge that also political interferences is also harm and hamper the our success and all. In Bangladesh, we have a kind of mixed success. In Rangpur, we have more, little bit in less in Rajshahi, but Rajshahi is more in conservation agriculture now. But there are only issues of that we don't have a quality machines in Bangladesh for two-wheel tractor of Kasi. And then problem is that if we person or operator want to run a whole day, and then we want to achieve a business model is not possible. So we have to work more on smartly how we can make our machines as a user-friendly, and that these are the learnings that we need to be learned.
Thank you.
So those, so many things are there. So these are the factors and then again, we need to have kind of optimize our partnership. Sometimes too many partners also create a problem. So we need to work on that. Such partnerships should be on optimized as not many, but yes, we need more and more diversity, but not too much. That also sometimes is a challenge to handle.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh. That's great reflections. Brendan, have you got a couple of points to make? I think we've got about 5 minutes, so some comments from you, and then we'll see if anyone else has some questions or comments.
Sure, I'll answer it with a researcher hat on, because I think a lot of what we tried to do in phase 3 was think about targeting. So participation is one thing. Participation may not necessarily lead to the outcomes that you need or are desired if there's no agency or empowerment to action things as well. So part of what we've tried to do is look at who is it that we have to target for the outcomes that we want. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we weren't able to do a lot of that, but there is some things that I'll present tomorrow from our quantitative study that try and look at, okay, who gives the best training? Where did the best training occur? What types of organizations? All of these things. So to fully answer that question, I would say we just ran out of time in order to action a lot of those things. But there is opportunities in the continuity of ACS programming in South Asia to try and action some of the learnings that we will get from that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. So with about 3 or 4 minutes left, has anyone else got questions that they would like to, or comments they'd like to make about the stuff you've seen today about capacity building within SRFSI?
Tamara, I would like to add one question about the MOOCs regarding if there is a limited internet availability or a smartphone, so how we can sort it out. So the target was about definitely farmers and rural community, but across the stakeholders. So our intention was to just target all the stakeholders. Sometimes extension professionals are not very much equipped with the CASI. So if they are learning through MOOCs and other digital platforms, so they can further train the farming community. But about the rural India especially, and now the trend of internet consumption is increasing like anything. So we can't say right now that there is a limited internet after coming Geo, and after because the cost of that internet is also reduced like anything. So I don't think so there is a problem, but in any household, at least you will find one smartphone like that. So they can use some time about some young siblings, son or daughter is having that phone, so they can use it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ram, for that clarification. One last question I think we can take before we go to our tea break. Eric, you look like you're poised.
Thank you, Tamara. Greetings, everyone from Canberra. This was a most interesting session. I just want to make first one comment that a great achievement of the project in the context of capacity building is that most of what you've done is going to survive the end of the project, which is always a very big achievement. There are many projects which really do not necessarily leave a trace later, but in this case, the way it's been managed and organized, there's a lot of opportunities for ongoing impact, and so that's really very good. In particular, the design of the website, which of the knowledge repository system devised by the CIMIT team. That no doubt can even be improved, but it's a very big contribution to the field. I just want to make one comment about the capacity building. It is quite a common statement that capacity building is the most important, the lack of knowledge or awareness is the biggest obstacles, and no doubt it is often true. But we need to make sure we don't get stuck into the feeling that people don't do what they actually could benefit from just because they don't know. And so we need to make sure we explore also, as Mr. Tapan from Satmile explained, that there are other things than awareness and knowledge. In fact, they are the key factors in limiting technology adoption or behavior change, that are not underpinned by lack of knowledge or lack of skills. So we need to follow the two directions. Capacity building is critical, but it can also be used sometimes as an excuse for not addressing the hard issues of access to infrastructure, equipment, the equity issue raised by Ms. Manohara. So yeah, all those things, just making sure that we have enough breadth of interest to follow all the issues. But great work and very well presented and very interesting. Thank you very much to all.
Thank you, Eric, for your comment. I'm going to hand back to Brendan now. Thanks for all those questions and comments. That was really interesting. And again, congratulations to the team, because it's been such a great summary of what's happened over the last 8 years.
Thanks very much, Tamara. Thanks to all the presenters, and thanks to everybody for listening in and participating in the discussion and the chats. So we've got about a 15-minute break. Please do come back. my feeling is that this session 4 will be the best session, and I guarantee that you will leave session 4 smarter than you came in. So I think it'll be a really good session. Looking forward to seeing everybody in about 15 minutes. Bye.